Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be never try to keep someone who doesn't want to keep you. I've got an email. This is from a woman. She's 26 years old, and she says she's read 3% Man about 8 times. And so she's been with her boyfriend for about a year and a half. But the problem is that he tends to get, or at least this is what he claims, he gets overwhelmed by life, and then he disappears sometimes for a week or two at a time. He all of a sudden goes out of town, and then he's out of pocket for like a month. She said normally when he would do this in the past, he would at least call her, but this last time she didn't hear from him for almost a month, and then he texts her out of the blue saying, "Hey, I want to come see you." And she's like, "Hey, my dad's over. He's visiting." And then radio silence. So she's like, and then of course she hasn't heard from the guy since. And she's wondering, should I call him and break it off or just move on with my life? And it just goes to show men and women both do this. We tend to project our fantasy of what we want onto the other person, and then we ignore what's coming back to us. In other words, what's being reciprocated or not. And it's tough when you're emotionally wrapped up in somebody and you care about them. And like, I know for me personally, growing up in a family where you never heard "I love you," you never got hugs, the family was just totally cold. So affection and "I love yous," those things were part of life. And so you become emotionally conditioned to wanting love and affection, but not getting it. And then so like when I grew up and then I was in my teenage years, my early 20s, I get hung up on women who had no interest in me because it made me feel exactly like I did when I was around my family. That seemed normal. And then I would waste years hoping I was going to get a chance, stuck in friend zone or whatever. And obviously when I got into my probably 22, 23, I started going, this is a waste of time. And you got to get to the point where you recognize, you bottom line somebody's actions. If they care, they make the effort. The quickest way to get somebody else's attention is to remove yours. And when you got somebody that just disappears for a month at a time that you're in a relationship with, it's like, that's not a relationship. More than likely, they're treating you like a booty call, which is what I suspect that this guy really views this girl she sent a picture. She's really beautiful. And her father said something that made sense, and I'll get to that later on in the email. But you can waste years of your life because you're hung up on a fantasy, you're hung up on an illusion, you're hung up on something that doesn't exist. And you gotta be strong enough to recognize when somebody, whether it's a friend or in this case a lover, they gotta make the effort. And if they don't make the effort, if they're not like, hell yeah, I'd love to see you, hell yeah, I'd love to spend time with you, hey, I miss you, there's no point. So let's go through her email. She says, "Hi, Corey. I'm a 26-year-old female, and I've read your book 8 times. I've been with my boyfriend for a year and a half. Sometimes he gets overwhelmed with life, and I don't talk to him for a week or two, which is fine since I'm busy myself." When a woman says it's fine, it's not fine, obviously. So for you guys that are in a relationship and your girlfriend or your wife or you're having a disagreement, she's like, it's fine. It's not fine. And if you just like, okay, well, she said it's fine, then she's going to get pissed at you. Because it's really not. Because if you care, you'll recognize she's not happy. And then you want to get to the bottom of what's going on so you can resolve it. And then move on and get back to hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. Love is playful and fun after all. He says, I brought it up before. And he says he just does that. And to think about his good qualities. Well, like I was saying earlier, you got to bottom line his actions. Doesn't matter what he says or what comes out of his mouth. The bottom line is he's not showing up physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually for you. She says, however, he went out of town, and I thought he was only going to be gone a week, and it turns out he was gone for an entire month. In the past, he has called me to chat when he was out of town, but this time, complete radio silence. So we take a step back and look at that, and it's like, a month out of town, he doesn't call, doesn't text. That's not somebody that's dying to spend time with you, that really misses you. That's somebody that, in essence, is treating you like a part-time booty call. When they want to release, they get in touch. Other than that, they're out doing God knows what. This is not how you make somebody, because love is about giving. You go there to give. You're there to help each other grow, to become more. You do that because you're supposed to be teammates that have similar goals, similar values. You have a shared vision for your life that you're trying to accomplish. But if I look at the totality, it's just, unfortunately, he's treating her like a booty call. She says, I don't like to come across as needy, so I left him alone for 2 weeks and then called him. He texted me back, out of town for a bit, talk when I get back. She replied, sounds good. And then she says, then more radio silence for 2 more weeks. That's not a guy that's head over heels in love with you and misses you and is thinking, God, I want my kids to look like her. This is a guy that's just breadcrumbing you, dangling the carrot, hoping you'll stay interested. So next time he needs a release or he's passing through town, he gets in touch. She says, finally, he texted me and asked to come over. I said, sure, but my dad was here staying the night since he was working by my house. He never responded. I called him and no response. So that right there tells me he was just hoping for a booty call, and he was such a bitch that he couldn't even show up because think about it. If your baby girl has a dude that's never there and he wants to come over and get a booty call, that guy, he ain't gonna show up because he's ashamed. He can't even show his face because he's pathetic. He's not a man. This is not what a man would do. This is what a child would do. She says, my question to you is, I feel like he is showing me with his actions that he does not give a fuck about me. There you go. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. That's the harsh reality. If you bottom line somebody's actions, that tells you everything. And as Maya Angelou said, when somebody shows you or tells you who they are, believe them the first time. She says, he has done something similar on my birthday last year, but that was only for 2 weeks. But still, if he's going that long without seeing it, you're a booty call to him. That's it. He treats you like a booty call. And he says that you're in a relationship just so you sit around and wait on him. That's not loving. That's not kind. It's not loving yourself either, because you deserve to be happy and you deserve to get what you want. Guys do the same thing with women, and they make up all kinds of rationalizations. Oh, she's going through a difficult time. She's having this problem. She's got that problem. She'll get back to me. And then the woman gives them something that sounds logical and makes sense. But the reality is they're absent from your life. Since he is ignoring me, should I just text him to break it off? I wouldn't text him at all. He doesn't deserve it. And she said, since he is ignoring me, should I just text him and break it off officially or consider it done? Well, I would say it never really got started. It's just you were a booty call. You saw what you wanted to see, and he was happy to let you live in an illusion that he was creating. Should I heal and start seeing other people? Absolutely. She says, I will say this is the most emotional pain I have ever been in. I know. It sucks. It ain't fun. Especially when you realize that you were gullible and you got taken advantage of. But things like this, they make you stronger. Because you say, that's it. I'm never going to put up with this kind of bullshit again from anybody. I deserve to be with somebody who's excited to see me. And this guy is not. And she says, my dad told me he's probably got a few screws loose, LOL. Your dad's probably right. But at the end of the day, it doesn't sound like the guy has much character or integrity, because he's happy to just manipulate you and let you think that there's a relationship when he's treating you like a booty call. So if I bottom line the actions, he's treating you like a booty call. Either way, this is not savable, right? It's like, well, there's nothing to save because he's not showing up. You had 1.5 years of this, and he's making no effort. And the reality is, you're too young, you're too beautiful to put your life on hold for some dude that's never there. It's like, come on, man. You deserve better, girl. So if I were you, I would just start saying yes to invitations that you get from other men. And I would never call or text this guy again for any reason. As a matter of fact, you should just go ahead and block him on all your devices, and then he won't be able to get through to bother you. And then that can be your payback to him. That can communicate everything. The quickest way to get somebody else's attention is to remove yours. So just match and mirror back to him the low priority that he's given you in his life. So just make him a no priority. I would excommunicate him from the promised land, from your secret worlds. Elvis has left the building because you deserve more. But you got to participate in your own rescue, because there's also a chance if you back off and you move on and then you don't answer him, and then he's wanting a release or a booty call, then he might start putting on an act. But you got a year and a half. So it's not your job to fix him. It's not your job to save him. Your dad said the guy might have a few screws loose. Maybe he does. But that's not your problem. It's not your job to fix him or to save him. His family did this to him. This is the way he is. This guy, in my opinion, doesn't have any character or integrity. He's a ratchet human being. So why waste your time with ratchet human beings? Plus, you got a dad who obviously loves you and came to see you. So spend time with your dad. Spend time with men that make you feel loved, valued, wanted, and appreciated, not guys that are just never around and treat you like an occasional booting call. So if you got a question or challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.